Hello and welcome to the world of pronunciation. Today we have three teachers to teach you all about the complex state word. Hello student, my name is teacher Wolapan.
Hi, I am teacher Manthakon.
Hello, my name is teacher Supakon.
We are your teachers of this short lesson. But before we get started,
Have you ever been confused why pronunciation is important? Or have you ever mispronounced a word when speaking English or confusing the other person?
imagine a scenario like this. You are talking with someone, but they are unaware of what you're saying. Who is at fault? Understanding state patterns can be a powerful tool for effective communication because there are so many different English accents in the world. In this lesson, we will discuss the interesting topic of state patterns in complex words. However, before we dive into today's content, let's warm up by pronouncing some words as an example together. You can now pause the video to pronounce the words. Okay, thumbs up. Let's check if your pronunciation is correct or not. Cigar, cigarette.
So, what's the difference?
Alright, now you have me, teacher Manthakon. And now that we have practiced pronouncing those words, so let's look at why some words change their straight pattern when we add a suffix. Take cigar and cigarette, for example. In cigar, the straight is on the second syllable, cigar. But when we add the suffix et to create cigarette, the straight moves to the second syllable, which is cigarette. This happens because certain suffixes like e or et tend to attract the straight onto themselves, so this can cause the straight to shift from its original position in the base words. Now that we've got handle on suffixes change straight patterns, are you curious how prefixes can play a role too? Yeah, so let's begin with the first one. I will start with the prefix first. The first type, monosyllabic prefixes. It generally adding a one-syllable prefixes like re, did, or un, and it usually doesn't change the straight on its root word. For example, the word rewrite. Its primary state still remains straight pattern on the main its root word, write, and it doesn't cause any change or shift of the straight pattern anyway. The second type, disyllabic prefixes. Things can get a bit more interesting with two-syllable prefixes. Here, the straight often falls on the root word without secondary straights on the first syllable of the prefix. For example, the word contradict. It straights on the syllable dict, and the secondary straight falls on the prefix con.
Look at this. Interesting. It seems like adding one syllable before the word doesn't mess with the main emphasis much. Understood. But how about suffixes?
Okay, let's take a look at what suffixes are. The suffix is when applied. Many English suffixes are like most prefix, cause shift in the primary stress position. The following classifications apply to these suffixes. So we have talked about the first type of suffix. Pay attention to suffixes like ee, eer, and esque, squeeze. These suffixes tend to attract the straight onto themselves, sometimes causing the stress to shift from its original position in the base word. For example, import. Stress shift from the first to the second syllable. So we have to talk about second type of our suffix. Pay attention to suffix like it, equal, yes, and ins. These suffixes tend to attract the stress onto themselves, sometimes causing the stress to shift from its original position in the base word. For example, grammatical. Stress shift from the first to the second syllables. The good news is that some suffixes like the ones listed here usually don't change the stress pattern of the base word. For example, comfort, comfortable.
So adding "men" to develop wouldn't change the state, keeping it on the first syllable like develop.
Great question. Yeah, you're right.
That says a lot to take in. Are there any resources you recommend to practice these patterns with prefixes and suffixes?
Yeah, this is a great question. Mastering straight patterns can be a challenge, but there are ways to improve. Here are some tips. First, listen closely. Pay attention to how native speakers pronounce words, especially those with complex syllables. Second, official dictionary. Use dictionaries that include stress markings, often a small apostrophes before the straight syllable. Third, online resources. Explore websites and apps that offer audio pronunciation and explanation of stress patterns.
Alright, before we end this lesson, let's do some practice by pronouncing the complex straight word pattern correctly together as some quick review for today's lesson. You can pause the video and pronounce it. So, let's take a look at one by one. Determination, biological, geography, Superman. Well, I think this is all of our lesson today. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you make it something helpful for sure. So, have a great day. Bye bye.